Welcome to Bloody Maryz, a queer horror movie podcast.
This episode, we'll be discussing Sleepaway Camp.
I'm your cunting daughter, Sean.
And I'm your mother who sucks cocks in hell, Alex.
We are horror nerds and flatmates from Hackney. Our pronouns are they, them. Some content notes for this episode. We're reviewing a fairly transphobic film, so be wary of transphobia. Also some sexual violence, blood and gore, and also huge spoilers in this. You definitely need to watch the film if you want to see it before we talk about it, because we'll be spoiling it from the very beginning pretty much. So discretion is advised.
Sleepaway Camp was released in 1983, the same year as the more popular camp murder film, Friday the 13th. It was released in November of that year, on 85 screens in and around New York. In that weekend, it was a top grossing movie, killing its horror competition, Amityville 3D, and even outdoing Barbra Streisand's directorial debut, Yentl.
Oh, wow. You love Yentl.
You like a bit of a shock.
Objectively better representation.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Two kind of transy films released at the same time. So the writer and director, weirdly dedicated the movie to his mother. It's his only directorial credit, aside from his return to Sleepaway Camp. Although he did write Sleepaway Camp 4 and two other random films called Nightmare Vacation 2 and 3.
all of a similar ilk.
Yes. So the film became, as I said, an unexpected hit, and also something of a cult favorite for horror movie buffs, and it made 30 times more what it was spent to make it. This was Mel, who's the creepy counselor's final film. He was sick all the way through the production, which I think you can kind of tell because he's like really raspy and hardly there.
Sick with what?
Well, lung cancer.
Oh.
And he died 3 months before the film actually got released. I never got to see this beautiful piece of work. Felissa Rose, who plays Angela, was only 13 at the time of filming. And she didn't want, her mother didn't want her to be seen in the movies, the murdering scenes. So she, as you might have noticed. But also I wondered while I was watching it this time, whether that's just like part of the plot, as you don't know who it's meant to be. But they also did use a male actor's hands for all the murders. So that was to, throw people off. So because obviously Angela was only 13 at the time, the climactic scene, which is basically the biggest spoiler of the film, where she appears naked, was actually a mask of her face on an older college student who was local, who did it. And he actually was, he shaved his whole body to do the part. And also, well, not his pubes, actually. It's not his pubes. And was incredibly drunk, apparently, filming that bit of the film. Felissa, who played Angela, actually was invited back to do 2 and 3, Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3, but she'd actually applied to go to Tisch, and they said that they wouldn't hold her place. And so actually she was replaced by Pamela Springsteen, who was Bruce Springsteen's younger sister. Apparently in those films, actually, she resurfaces at a nearby summer camp, but this time masquerading as a counselor after a sex change that made her entirely female. That was in bunny quotes, by the way, you can see that. After that, though, she went on to have quite a prolific B-movie horror career to the present day.
This is Bruce Springsteen's sister.
No, sorry. Felissa.
I was going to say Felicia.
Yeah, Felicia. And actually, I thought this would be of interest to you. She has a movie coming up with the wrestler Bret Hart called Demented 2, The Beginning. The sequel to Demented, which they were both in, apparently.
Oh, really?
Also.
I've never heard of it. I do like Bret Hart, though.
Yes. Some of her more hilarious movie credits I wanted to read out because they're so funny. Ugly Sweater Party. These are all horrors. My Uncle John is a zombie. Aliens versus A-holes. breath of hate. Big freaking rat. Grandma's secret recipe. And and my girlfriend, the serial killer.
You may know all of these from the Oscar nomination.
Weirdly, she actually does reprise her role, but it's another reveal for Return to Sleepaway Camp in 2008. Where she actually dresses as a male sheriff, wearing a fake beard and oversized police uniform, an artificial voice box that is supposedly due to having a throat cancer. I saw a clip of it and she looks like a drag king who's about to do some sort of sexy police reveal. And weirdly, the voice box all the kids laugh at.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, inside out, transphobic, ableist strangeness.
Yeah. And also, there's no such thing as a sexy policeman. A cab.
Jane Krakowski from 30 Rock, Kimmy Schmidt, and recently RuPaul guest judge, was originally cast to play Judy, but dropped out for filming movie.
Was Judy the dick?
Yeah, Judy's the fuzzy
with the side ponytail. Yeah, she was the worst.
But she dropped out because she felt her character's death scene with the curling iron was too violent. The shot of dead Judy was actually cut by the MPAA for being too grisly. So God only knows what that would have looked like. Thank God that's not there. Basically, there's also been rumored reboots of Sleepaway Camp going around since 2013.
They can't.
No, but
they absolutely can't make this.
Yeah, like the director said it's unlikely due to being deemed transphobic.
Deemed. Well, oh, yes. I'm sorry, we've deemed this transphobic. That's on us.
The movie starts with a shot around what looks like a sort of camp with some really over-the-top dramatic sort of scary movie music. It goes on for a while. And then you cut to a big lake where some, like a little boy and a little girl and a dad are on a boat, just lolling around, having a lovely time. And also on that same lake,
I forgot about this woman actually.
Is two boy and a girl in a boat, and a girl being dragged behind
hysterical girl who's having the worst day of her life.
Yeah, like on jet skis. What's it called? Jet skis? They're just water skis.
I don't know what the difference is.
Jet skis are a motorized thing, I think. Anyway, so yeah, sort of on water skis, like skis.
Aż just water ski.
I know why, so just water ski. And she's like crying and screaming and like having a horrible time. And then the people on the boat like, lol, let's go faster. And the guy and the girl swap places. And then at this point, we cut to the family and they've capsized the boat and they're having a little lull about it. A man from the shore, don't know who he is, but another hot type from the shore is beckoning to them, being like, you must come in from the lake. Someone is coming. I think it's actually the aunt that they talk about that she ends up going to. And Ricky.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what it just occurred to me. And
oh yeah.
Yeah. And then cut back to the water skiing boat and the girls sort of out of control. The screaming girls being like, there's a boat. And then they realize too late and the boat goes over the kiddies and the daddy, and
kills one of the kids.
You don't see which one. And the dad seemed like, floating face down. And the screaming water skiing woman is still screaming.
She makes every use of her minutes in that film by overacting quite hysterically.
Yeah. So then there's a scene, it just cuts to a scene of a sort of nice looking suburban house. And 8 years later, as written beneath it. And then we cut into the house where we meet a very strange woman.
Very strange. She's definitely the campest character of the film. And she also is a queen of overreacting and overacting.
It's just like weirdly robotic, but also like hysterical or something. Like it's really like really weird to place what she's trying to do.
Yeah, she's like, I've written your physicals. Wasn't that nice of me?
Yes. And yeah, makes a big deal about the physicals and said, don't tell anyone where you got these from.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the first hint, but I guess you wouldn't pick up on it from that.
No. Well, I didn't, and I knew what was coming.
Yeah.
But she's very much like that she kind of places Ricky, who's her son, and the other one is the surviving kid from the boat accident at the beginning. Very much paints Ricky as like Angela's protector. Like, make sure, look after her. And she's very kind of timid and anxious. And he's confident. He's been before. He's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's funny because obviously they've been growing up in the same house. But yeah, obviously the weird robot aunt has been keeping her locked up until she was ready to face the world. But did she know?
She needed a bit more time baking. We're not quite ready to mix with people yet.
Not good at socializing. Doesn't quite understand it.
And they're not very good at not murdering people.
Not very good at not murderous revenge. So then they're wearing the camp t-shirts and they head off on the bus and they arrive. There's also screaming and shouting of all the children running off the bus, getting ready. And you cut to like the kitchen crew who all look a bit like...
Who are all pedophiles. Yeah, like literal pedophiles.
Yeah, like the main guy, I think his name's Artie, says, young fresh chickens. We call them baldies where I come from.
Yeah.
It's like, is that allowed?
Yeah. Like, and the other one's like, they're too young to know what you want to do to them or something. It's gross. It's really, really gross.
Bleak. Yeah, there's no nuance about
No. I mean, there's no nuance in the film.
No. You could read nuance into it.
Would you? It's it's not subtle.
So they all start off into their cabins, and Angela meets all the gals. She's weirdly obsessed with Judy when she arrives. I think it's because everyone's so obsessed with Judy and their big wabs because all the boys are talking about it.
And Judy and Ricky knew each other from a previous camp or something. And it's commented very early that Judy's breasts have developed.
Yes. So yeah, they're like a main talking point throughout the film. And Judy and Judy.
Juby's Juby's boobies. Oobly Juby boobies.
It's Juby. So yeah, and also Angela just isn't speaking, just like doesn't speak at all. Even when Juby is shouting, it's like, "What are you looking at?" And Angela's just staring like a maniac.
Also, Angela really reminds me that you get lots of shots of her just like kind of with her big doe eyes, like staring into someone's face and not responding. And at the beginning, she really reminded me of a young Amy Winehouse. Like she's got that, she's very like kind of angelic and beautiful.
Yeah, she is. She's very pretty. So yeah, what happens? They end up going, the first murder is about to occur because they end up going to the lunch hall. It turns out that Angela hasn't eaten anything since they got there, but it's weird. The timeline in terms of the film jumps really suddenly and you don't know why. And so apparently she hasn't eaten anything since she got there, but it seemed like they just arrived.
Yeah. And then a bit later, he's like, "You remember me, Angela? We met a week ago when we first arrived." And it was like, what?
Or even later the same day. But yeah, so then the weird, like super muscular, sports guy, I guess
he's one of the counsellors.
Yeah,
with his tiny shorts and his big bollocks.
Yeah, giant bulge. And
the fashion on this film is brilliant.
Yeah,
that is perhaps one thing that I can be completely uncritical of. is everyone looks iconic.
And, well, especially his lovely mum hair.
Yeah, I mean, my lockdown hair is approaching that exact look at the moment. Hello, I am your mum. I'd like to speak to the manager, please.
So he takes her back to the kitchen, to the pedo kitchen, and says, try and find her something to eat. And then I think it's Artie, who's the main grocer you said about the
pervies.
She says, come back to the storeroom. I've got something for you. And then looks like he's about to, well, he is gonna.
Yeah, it's like, could you see anything you like? I've got something you like, and starts to like unzip his thing.
Trousers, which is, it's like, it's sort of weird that was sort of allowed even, I don't know, like in the 80s, I think that people just ignored like pedophilia. I thought it was hilarious or acceptable as like a...
I mean, I don't object it being used as a storyline element, but this is like a campy... I can't imagine this not being like a campy, silly film then.
Yeah.
And it seems... Yeah, it's... I mean, I guess the good part is that he gets his just dessert very, very quickly. It's that you don't have to wait very long.
Yeah.
Because Ricky comes in. And I think Ricky is probably the nicest character. Because he like... he's kind of like scrappy in a fun way compared to the other boys who are just like dickheads.
Yeah, really fun.
And he like has like unwavering support for Angela, like is always looking out for her, always has his kind of one of his eyes kind of towards her.
So yeah, he catches the guy trying to flash Angela and like gets her out.
I don't think he was just going to flash her.
Well, yeah. We'll never know.
We won't.
But I mean, yeah. And then shortly afterwards, he's boiling it like an enormous pot the size of a
you could literally fit Angela in there.
Yeah.
At least Angela before she's replaced with the big man at the
end. So yeah, he's boiling a giant pot for corn, I guess, because there's also corn there, which I thought was going to be the first weapon actually, because I'd forgotten.
I thought so, like a big sharpened corn.
But no, it's actually the boiling pot of water, and like she basically pushes him into the pot, and then it falls all over him, and then he's scalded.
Yeah. The flaw that I spotted immediately with this, which I said when we just watched it, was he presumably sees her that she's done it, because it looks like he turns around. He's like, "Hey, kid, stop pushing me! Blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna skin you alive!" Blah blah blah. Yeah, and it feels like he sees her.
Well, I guess also there's that,
and because he doesn't die, we should say he just gets very severely burnt.
And then, like, the other cook finds him and just stares at him screaming on the floor for it.
Yeah, I think I'd just be like, I might just let the pedo just burn up before I get the aftersun out.
Yeah, his like face is quite kind of gruesome, and then cut to like a doctor and him being wheeled away in bandages, and the doctor being like, "Oh, he must be in so much pain, the worst pain ever, maybe unimaginable pain." Yeah.
And then the guy who that runs the camp is just like, "What's the prognosis?" Blah blah blah. And then he goes again. He's just like, "But so much. We must be in so much pain.
No painkillers could even stop this pain."
Like, all right, Dr. Doom Gloom.
And now I'm wondering whether that's the maybe the doctor's saying that so that you kind of think, "Oh, he can't speak because he's in so much pain." But I don't know.
Yeah,
stretch possibly, but yeah, we don't see him again. He gets wheeled away. And
to the burns unit.
To the burns unit.
Yeah.
Popped in the lake.
Just to cool down. I think I was surprised by how, considering the deaths in kind of on paper are quite graphic, like burning to death, tongs up the fanny, like that sort of thing. You don't see anything, but the aftermath is always the more kind of fun part of the death, like him with the burns, the bees, the snake, like the actual deaths themselves. Although, well, that first one wasn't a death.
That must be because they didn't want to have the full, I don't know, I was going to say the full body in shots so that you could never figure out who it was meant to be. But there must be a way around filming.
But I mean, like, you didn't really see when the big pot tips over on him, you don't see him getting scolded. You just hear it, and then you see the aftermath.
Yeah, that's
true. And with the bees,
no
it's behind a door, and she wasn't in the toilet when he died at that point. Yeah. She was poking it through a window. Oh. Anyway, we'll get to
that. So then he gets wheeled away, and then the cut to a really long, weird scene where the boys are just playing baseball.
Yeah, and I thought at this point, and we're not that far into the film, but I thought at this point that they obviously don't have enough plot to fill the runtime of the film because that scene is very extended and literally nothing happens. It doesn't advance the plot. It's not interesting. And like, there's a few moments where there's really long, drawn out dialogue of nothing that's quite repetitive, that doesn't go anywhere. Like, it's basically, it is a plotless film, I think. Like, it's barely got a plot.
It's just weird because it, like, if you heard what it was on paper, you'd think it sounded like...
Yeah, it does. There's the essence of a plot hidden in there, but as it plays out, it doesn't seem... There's the bit where they're, like, fighting in the boys' room, and... No, not fighting, and he's...
just before he goes to play baseball.
Yeah, and they kind of play a prank on this guy who's kind of bullied throughout.
Yeah, his name is Mozart, weirdly.
Maybe I'd bully him as well.
Yeah.
Where they, like, he's lying on the floor and they lift a towel off his face and he sits up and puts his face in some kid's bum.
Yeah, bum's there.
Yeah, bum face.
Bum face Mozart.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then the baseball scene, and they're just running around playing baseball and swearing at each other.
It looks like a horrible camp. Everyone's so awful to each other. Nobody's having a nice time.
Yeah, everyone's just being vile to each other. And this is sort of the first time you see like some of the boys wearing crop tops and tiny cut off denim jeans. It's just like,
yeah, I think it's the counselors that are wearing the crop tops.
Yeah, I mean the boys are all wearing their sort of silky tight shorts.
Yeah,
it's you kind of like, it's weird how like the outfits were so gay in the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, it basically just looks like Dalston in 2020, doesn't it? Like lots of like kind of like Adidas, lots of like tiny little shorts that are way too small for such big pendulous dicks. Kind of cool sports socks rolled up.
I just need to minus the actual sports.
Yeah, big lockdown hair. Surfing gay, sporty, coronavirus chic.
Yeah, so that scene is just there, and then we're at the disco, which I think they call a social, actually, in the film. And this is Angela's, as always, sat.
He's still not spoken at this point.
Still not spoken, just sat at the side by herself. And then some of the guys see her, and they're like, oh my God, let's invite Angela to go swimming. That'd be hilarious. And then like one of them is also trying to get her to go for a walk. And then, yeah, she's not speaking at all. And then they're just sort of being like, Angela's a nutcase. Ain't you a Looney Tune?
Oh, they call it Angelooney Tune. Yeah. That is quite good. I will give them some credit for that.
Original bullying material. But then like Paul, as it Ricky bumps the like tells them to like go away. I was gonna say fuck off, which is a bit excessive.
Well, it's not. There's a lot of effing and blinding. Yeah. But yeah, it is Ricky. Ricky kind of sees it happening and like they have a bit of a scuffle.
And then they all go, and then like Paul is now coming, and this is when
Who's Paul?
Paul's the love interest.
Oh, the blonde
Lovely
one.
Paul, yes.
So you know who he really reminds me of? You know, the original Willy Wonka film? He looked like Charlie Bucket.
Oh. So yeah, Charlie Bucket / Paul decides to
Paulie Bucket
sidle up to Angela at this point.
He's got such a disappointing trajectory because he starts off as a really sweet character.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really do anything that bad, but
well, he gets annoyed when she isn't consenting to like fondling and stuff. So I think we can say.
So yeah, he's like chatting. He sidles up and is like chatting to Angela, and she's not speaking. But and this is where he says, "Oh, you remember me from a week ago?" And it's like, what? Okay. But he's just rabbiting on about all the naughty things that him and Ricky got up to last time they were at camp, just like chatting at her face. So at this point, Judy is like, what's going on over there?
Judy is always 3 seconds away whenever those two speak.
That's true. And just
She's like the ghost of Christmas yet to come.
Yeah.
Anything about me in this conversation?
And Angela wasn't speaking. I guess it's like standard male dynamic with a woman. And listening and nodding. And then eventually they have to go, and Paul gets up and says, "Good night, Angela." And this is the first time she speaks. She says, "Good night." And everyone's like, "Oh, goop."
And Paul is snatched.
He says, "Good night."
Oh, yeah.
So then the boys were originally planning to go skinny dipping, still there by the lake, planning to go skinny dipping, and trying to get the girls to join in. And they're like, "No." And the boys are like, "Come on, boys, let's go." And then they'll just strip off and jump in the water. And then it's saying,
except for the two that were being mean to Angela earlier, they're off having a doobie by the looks of it.
Yeah, behind some kind of bleachers. And they're
just a classic doobie in the bleachers.
And they have a plan to get one of the girls to go with them in a kayak out into the water, for nefarious reasons. And the nefarious reasons just turn out to be that they want to capsize the boat.
And scare them about water snakes and snapping turtles.
Yeah. So that happens, and the girl swims off, but the boy hangs around for some reason and goes under the kayak into the sort of upturned bit and starts just talking to himself.
Yeah, that is weird.
I guess it's just a device for what happens next.
Yes.
And then a head bobs up. We don't know it's Angela at this point, but
Bob bobs up.
Yeah, Bob. And he says something weird like, "Oh, the boys would be pleased to know you're here," which doesn't really mean anything. And then Bob, Angela, then drowns him just by like holding on to the water.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem very likely given that he's quite big and she's tiny.
Well, she's to start with.
Yeah. She changes size. So then it cuts to the next day, so then they find the boy. I don't know, it's the boy.
The boy. Oh, yeah. So one of the camp counselors is like angry that he's got to tidy up because of all the mess that they left. And there's an upturned canoe. And then he lifts it up. And this is pretty cool, actually. The
way it looks,
his kind of face is a bit maggoty and like bloody.
And covered in seaweed.
And then and then a little like a water snake is like crawling out of his mouth.
Out of his mouth. That's pretty cool.
I suppose they don't crawl, they slither.
Yeah. Slithers out of the mouth.
Yes.
Then the police arrive, and Mel, who's like, I guess the boss of the camp, is like trying to cover it up and minimize it. It's been like, it's just a terrible accident. It was nobody's fault. Oh my God, whatever. He just passed off.
Yeah, he drowned.
Yeah.
But then one of the counselors afterwards is like, he was a very good swimmer.
Yeah. So then they just kind of like, they just pretend to the other kids that people have just left. And so he's the first one of these people.
Unfortunately, he has left this mortal coil. I mean, this camp.
He was found with a snake in his mouth and he decides to go home. So then it cuts to, the gals playing volleyball, was it? Yeah. And Angela's staying at the side as normal queers do, not partaking in sport. And Paul comes over and is like, "Hey, Angela," and invites her to movie night. And she's like, "Isn't movie night mandatory?"
I like that
line. And Judy is again really jealous and is like, "Why doesn't she have to play sport? Why is she getting to talk to all the boys all day?"
Also, the camp counselor for the women looks so much older than everybody else. Like, she looks like a kind of like 40-year-old mum, and they all are like kind of pubescent.
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, I'm sure they're all like really random ages.
Yeah.
It's just like, and so then Judy's in a strop, and then it cuts to the social. Actually, because of the end of movie night where they're leaving movie night together, and they're holding, like, Paul and Angela are holding hands at this point, which is like, this is moving very quickly. Well,
I mean, saying that, we don't know what time. It's probably been 6 months.
It's been 5 years.
They're actually married.
And Paul says, I want to show you something, and takes her behind one of the huts and kisses her, and she looks really, like, scandalized. And then he kisses her again, but
she consents to the second one. So
I
think she's just uneasy.
She looks a bit like, like startled. And then they say goodbye. Angela freaks out, and so cut to the next day. They're by the lake, Paul and Angela sitting chatting, and Judy just pops up in, like, really just, like, sexiest, like, swimming costume, like, really high cut. It's like, well, if it isn't a lovebird.
She's such a dick.
And Paul's like, get lost, and then Angela goes, goodbye. And nothing really happens after that. Then you cut to they're back in the girls' room, and Judy sees her opportunity to start picking on Angela, and it's like, hey, Angela, how come you don't shower with everyone else? You queer or something? And Angela's doing her weird stony silent staring thing and not speaking.
They think that she's ashamed that she hasn't gone through puberty yet. She's got no pubic hair.
Yeah. Then she runs away to go and try and find Ricky. And at this point, the naughty boys, the skinny dipping boys, on the roof of one of the huts and throw a water balloon at Angela.
I think it's just a wet sponge.
Oh, I thought it was
but either way, Angela falls down as if she's been shot with a cannonball.
She flops over and everyone's, like, screaming like a murder. Angela's, like, on the floor basically. And Ricky comes up, and Paul and they shout at the boys, and it's like, you'll be sorry or something. And then they just run away. Cut to the naughty skinny dip boys, back in their hut.
Oh, the hut.
And one of them was like, I need a wicked dump.
I'll catch up. I need a wicked dump. And I think he takes a porn magazine with him.
Oh, see.
Yeah. Disgusting shitty wanker.
Going too bad.
I just need to go for an almighty shit wank.
I need to have every orifice leaking. So then you see someone putting, like, a broom through the handles of the toilet, and then quickly scoot around to the back of the building.
That is a quick scoot.
And hand cuts through the knife. Obviously, Angela.
Yeah, like the kind of fly guard
window. And he's like, hey guys, what are you doing? Stop messing around.
Can a boy shit a piece around here?
And
I don't know why I went all Brooklyn. Can a boy shit a piece around here?
Shit a piece. We need to shit a piece. It's a wicked dump. And there's, like, it's sort of like this kind of precarious and silly, like a beehive on a stick being, like, angled through the hole.
Also, a tiny beehive for the amount of bees.
And no bees either. You kind of just assume it's bees because of the noise, but there's no bees at this point. And then he starts screaming hysterically because all the bees are killing him.
But you only see the perspective of his feet poking under the door of the toilet.
Yeah, you don't see him.
He's wearing some cool Adidas sneaks.
And then it cuts to him, like, you're right. It's funny. You never actually see them dying, but you see the dead body.
Yeah. So he ends up breaking through the door with the broom on, and he kind of falls out, and he lies on the floor, and there's, like, bees coming out of, like, wounds on his arms and stuff, and then all over his face.
They must have had, like, a really good prosthetics person. Like, just, like, that was, like, one of the main things is actually the prosthetics were quite amazing for the deaths.
Yeah.
And, so he's got, like, all these kind of, like, quite realistic gruesome wounds, and he's, like, all covered in bees. And so, again, he gets found, and Mel covers it off to cut the boss of the camp and pretends.
It's another one left the camp.
Yeah, it's not even talked about that much, that one. It's just like, he's gone. So yeah, his death's been covered up. And then we cut to Angela and Paul hanging out again, being all flirty, and they're like being all silly and tripping each other. And then like he's like, "I'm gonna get you," and then they fall in the sand together, and they do loads of smooching, and he starts trying to like grope her flat chest, and she's just like, "No, please, no," and then at this point, we have a really surreal flashback moment. Where it just cuts to, with no explanation, just suddenly, it cuts to two men lying in bed, and that's the dad and the guy who's on the shore calling them in from the beginning of the film, in bed in like a lover's embrace, like naked, but you
just kind of gently tickling each other's shoulders.
That's obviously what gay sex looks like. Just caressing each other gently.
I mean, we wouldn't know.
It has been a while. Maybe that is. And then like a surreal sort of like.
Oh, and so the two men are in bed, and then the two kids from the beginning are like looking around, going like,
yeah. And then it cuts to seeing the two children pointing each other on a spinning bed in sort of black void,
and they keep kind of swapping places.
Yeah, so they're like pointing, like swapping places, pointing in the positions on the bed.
I think it's really interesting that this positions. I mean, she's obviously a girl that is like kind of living through some sort of trauma.
Yeah.
But you would assume that the trauma would be seeing her dad and sibling being killed in that accident. But actually it kind of focuses on the trauma of her seeing that her dad was gay.
Homosexual.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like not explored any further than that. Like you don't see any more about that. And then we go back to reality, and she pushes Paul off and runs away. So then they kind of break it off a little bit because she's obviously upset. And then Judy arrives as always on prompt and say, "Oh, what's happening?" And then there's some kind of like steeplechase or something. What's it called? Like
flag game. Get the flag. Flaggy flag. But that's when Judy. Before that, Judy's like, "Oh, he told me that you're a prude," and the music's like really like. Dun, 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 as if it's like this huge kind of moment.
But before that, the reason that it's because they're making out. Like she catches them making out.
Oh, I thought that happened before they.
No. Okay. So yeah, he catches them making out, and then it's when Paul's trying to apologize that Judy pops up again. It's like, "He said you were a prude," and then it's a really dramatic da 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 da, and they both look like something horrible. Worst word on the planet.
We had to rewind it to be like, what have we missed? And it's like, okay, prude. She called her prude.
So Paul then leaves, humiliated by the word prude, obviously. And Judy's teasing Angela about never going in the water. And to say, "What's wrong with you? Why don't you go in the water? What's wrong with you?" And then Meg, who's like an older camp counselor, picks Angela up and throws her in the water. At this point...
Oh, and Ricky tries to go and help her.
And it's strange because this is the first time maybe it's hinted at, but I didn't catch it, that Mel, the older guy who runs the camp, suspects Ricky of the murders.
I think this is the first time
So he catches Ricky by the arm and is like, you can't save her.
Because he's made the connection that it's the people that have wronged her so far.
Yeah.
Although he wouldn't necessarily know about the first boy or about the chef, to be fair. But that's what he says anyway.
Yeah. But maybe actually, does he think the chef? Yeah, because the chef didn't die. Anyway, whatever. So then he's like grabbing Ricky and like, "I know what you did. You're naughty. You can't save Angela because she needs to call herself, and you can't murder everyone, essentially. Can't go around murdering willy-nilly." And so then he breaks free and rescues Angela from the water. I thought at this point there might be some kind of wet, clinging clothes peen reveal. Or like you'd hear like one of the people going like, "What's that?" or something like. But obviously she's got a quite tight tuck going on.
Yeah, and also it is gearing up for like a big reveal that's supposed to be a shock at the end. So there's not really any hint to the fact that she has a penis.
Yeah.
Until then.
Yeah. And so then, she throws her over the water, and then, she's really angry still at being put in the water, and Paul is trying to apologize still and be like, "Oh yeah, still love me." And she's just like, has this really like dark look on her face, and she's like, "Meet me by the waterfront after the social." And so that's the last time you see those two actually speaking. Then, who dies now?
Meg.
Oh yeah, there's a weird bit when Meg's made a date with the horrible old.
So earlier they had been flirty earlier on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it still doesn't really.
Like, he's really disgusting. Obviously months away from death as well. In real life. And she's like a pretty young thing, and I don't know how old she's going to be.
Maybe that was like a kind of like a little kind of reward for the actor. Just like, we know this is going to be your last film, so we're going to have you being seduced by a beautiful young woman, even though you're old enough to be a grandfather and disgusting.
So she's like, "I'm going to come around for dinner." And yeah, she doesn't go.
So she goes for there's a big queue for the showers in the girls' block. So she goes to the boys' block to use the shower.
I think it's just an empty one that's not been used that has showers. So she goes in there, and this is a pretty rubbish death. Actually,
they're all pretty rubbish.
Well, this is anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this is the only one where you see like blood and guts. To be fair, but so she's in the shower and she's just doing this tuneless singing like la 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 la, looking all excited for a deeply inappropriate date.
Granddad date.
I'm gonna get me some granddad D.
And then she's stabbed through the back. I can't tell whether the shower curtain or like a really thin wall divided.
Yeah, I did think it was a shower curtain, but then the shower curtain's patterned when you see it later.
Yeah.
I think it's just like, it's almost as if the dividers are just kind of like canvasy or something.
Yeah. But yeah, and
she just kind of like sticks it in and like glides it down the kind of length of her spine, pretty much.
And then like weirdly has a detail of like her bothering to rinse off the knife, even though it's like never brought up again.
Yeah, and then turning off the shower.
Yeah. At this point, Angela's obviously on a rampage because the deaths start getting ridiculous. There's like, for some reason, a group of younger boys and one of the counselors go out for a night sleeping under the stars, and some of the boys want to go back in the middle of the night, and
so the counselor leaves
with some of the boys,
yeah.
But the other ones who are asleep are left, and then you see someone sort of like getting an axe, and you don't know this has happened, but she ends up like killing all the
like 3 or 4 kids. This is where she lost me as a sympathetic character.
Why?
Because the others were all kind of coming from a place of vengeance to people who'd been like dicks to her. And it wasn't just like innocent people. It was like, these were tiny kids.
Yeah.
This is where it just felt a bit like there were better people to kill.
Yeah, it's just really random. I don't know why they even included that bit. I guess maybe just like, maybe to make her not sympathetic, actually. Maybe to try and like make her like a monster rather than who's just out for revenge. So then it cuts to Judy, who's brought a boy back to her hut for a makeout sesh. And she's been out with the boy, and she's like pulls away. She's like really mean. She's like, "Why do you kiss so wet?"
Yeah, she can't even be nice to people that she's making out with. She's such a dick.
And then
Judy Bo Booty, not a fan of Bo Booty.
And they end up making out some more anyway. Mel busts in looking for Meg, who's late for the hot date, obviously 'cause she's dead. And late R.I.P. And then so then she's like, "I haven't seen her. She went to the shower next door." That's when.
So the boy leaves because he's worried about getting caught. He was hiding under the bed when Mel came in.
Yeah, and actually, in terms of the chronology of the next 2 deaths, I'm not sure. Is it Mel first or Judy? Because Mel goes next door to, oh no, Mel's still alive. So yeah, Mel goes next door and finds, Meg, dead. And is mumbling incoherently, and then it's just like, I'm gonna get him, I'm gonna teach him a lesson.
Because he still thinks it's Ricky at this point.
Yeah. Then cut to a weird scene with the Judy being alone on the bed.
I hate this bit. I hate this.
It's so weird. And the door opens, and it's like a backlit person, but it's not like that unclear. Like it's like
they've basically put Ricky in drag.
Yeah.
And it's to make you. I don't know if in their minds they think that Ricky and Angela look similar.
Yeah,
I don't think they do.
No.
But yeah, it's obviously to make you think, oh, so it is Ricky killing everyone, pretending to be Angela. I don't know what it's trying to do.
Yeah,
but I think it's trying to kind of prepare you for the reveal at the end, where they're starting to blur the lines between face and body, and like trying to kind of distance herself from the very kind of like petite feminine body that we've seen
Which
before.
is so strange because like everyone references Angela as being tiny in the film, so she is just a tiny boy. It's not like when she's murdering she becomes a giant man.
Yeah.
But I guess that kind of like fits into like a monstrous trans woman narrative.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Or like the kind of deceptive things, like, oh, that's why she doesn't take her clothes off, because when she does, she's a massive, fully grown man, an adult man.
Yeah. And so yeah, Judy can't tell who it is. It's just like, who is that? And it's up until like she's literally like 5 seconds from her face. She's like, it's you. What are you doing here? At which point,
yeah. So Judy had previously been curling her hair with some curling tongs.
And then she kind of like,
so she punches her.
Yeah, Angela punches her, knocks her out.
Puts a pillow over her face.
Yeah, and then you only see a shadow of this, but you know what's happening. Basically, she puts the curling tongs up inside of her, and there's a sizzling noise. It's pretty grotesque.
And you just see like a shadow of Judy's hand like reaching up.
Yeah. And yeah, like I said, that was the actual, her body was cut from like what it looked like. I wonder if there's any leaks. I mean, I don't know.
I want to see. I think there would have been some leaks.
Yeah.
And then she hides the body under the bed.
Yes. Next stop on her murderous rampage. Oh no, this is the point where Mel catches up with Ricky, and then just beats him.
Yeah, beats him up.
And to a pulp. And
it looks at this point, he could potentially be dead at this point. You don't know.
Then they find, is
that when he's,
yeah, so then he's like, yeah, Mel's running through the forest, and comes across an archery area that you haven't seen before.
And then he turns around and sees someone. He's like, oh, it can't be you. And like, and then he sees Angela holding the arrow, but we can't see it's Angela.
Yeah, she's a suddenly expert in archery.
Yeah.
And shoots him directly through the throat.
Yeah. That's the only death that you really see in any, where you literally see it.
Yeah.
But there's not a drop of blood to be seen.
No, that's true. Then it all gets a bit crazy because one of the camp counselor calls about all the boys being murdered, and then they realize that there's just like a murder on the loose. Yeah, so then it cuts to they're more frantically running around trying to find all the people who are missing.
And they find the bodies of the kids that she killed at camping.
Yeah. And then at this point, there's the final surreal flashback. Basically explaining the Angela origin story, which is that when the aunt who we meet at the beginning, who's weird, ooky, pooky, spooky, like brings Angela back. She's not actually Angela, she's her brother. And she says, I've always wanted a little girl, and we've already got little boys, so you'll have to be a girl. And I bought you this lovely dress. And yeah, so basically forces her to live as a girl. And yeah, so then it cuts back. It's weird how it's all compacted into the last like 5 minutes, all this like random story. And then you see the camp counselors like seeing Angela and Paul. It looks like Paul's just being like nursed or nestled into her.
So this is because earlier when she'd said that they needed to meet at the waterfront. Yes. This is them having met now after she's got to the climax of her murderous spree.
Oh, I forget. Just before that as well, she's like, she does meet her like Paul, and they do speak. It's just like she's like, yes, let's go swimming. Take off all your clothes.
Oh yeah, and then he's like, "Hey!"
Yeah. And this is obviously why she's naked. So then, yeah, you see her like holding Paul's head, and what you don't realize is that she's actually cut Paul's head off. And then she stands up and reveals her naked body, and also peen. And the counselor sees it. It's like, oh my God, she's a boy. And she's just got this like static,
like very kind of fixed scream
face and making this weird kind of animal noise.
Yeah.
And it just like keeps panning like into the face and then onto the body and into the face, until the end of the movie where it just freeze frames on her screaming face and then the credits roll.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Weird.
Very, very weird.
So in terms of representation, this is not a prime example of how to well represent people from marginalized communities. But we'll start with people of color, given that there are so few of them.
Yeah.
And basically the only people of color are the kind of secondary kitchen staff and the cleaners.
Yeah.
So I think there's like maybe 3 or 4 of them who you see who are kind of hanging out with the pedo at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then helping clear up after the death of the pedo chef.
Yeah. That's right.
And then you pretty much don't see them again. You might see the guy who steps up to be the chef again briefly, but he is not.
A main character.
Yeah. So essentially it's very poor representation because there's loads of kids. There's no reason why they're all white.
Yeah.
And the only people of color are kind of like kind of yeah. They're in kind of like service roles.
Yeah. I think that's all about the representation of the women.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's arguable that it's just a film full of dicks. Like,
oh my God, that should be the tagline.
Like most of the girls are horrible. The counselor woman who's got the face of an elderly woman.
Oh yeah,
she is nice but ultimately useless. And when she does intervene to defend Angela, it's always a little bit too late.
Yeah,
like she's always present for things happening, and then eventually she'll intervene. And she seems a little bit kind of ineffective and useless. Yeah, especially given that the male counselors are like seem pretty on it. Like they seem more proactive than Mel, who runs the whole camp. Like they are the ones. They seem a bit more nurturing towards the kids.
I wonder if, well, actually, no, they're all awful. I wonder if the girls are more vicious to each other than the boys are, but I think the boys are awful as well. Yeah, so she's that scene when Mozart gets a knife out and starts running around trying to.
Oh yeah, yeah, because he got some shaving foam on his face. Yeah, I mean, it kind of like really also like really plays on the kind of difference between the kind of like banter in inverted commas of how like girls and boys do it, because the boys are very much like, I'm gonna punch you and have a fight, and the girls are just like, I'm gonna destroy your life.
Yeah, actually, yeah, and usually ever a boy have to do with a boy.
Yeah, like none of the girls are particularly nice to each other. No one's really warm or kind to Angela apart from Ricky, really.
And Paul, except for when
yeah, I think he's discounted. And the
silent D.
He did. And one of the main male camp counselor with the mum hair and the ridiculous pecs. He's quite nice to Angela.
Yeah, well, he's sort of Lewis, like, get some food. Oops, it's pedophile dick time.
Yeah, I'll just leave you in this very small pantry with a known sex offender. So yeah, I mean, it's not a feminist film, is it?
And yeah, the aunt is obviously a maniac and a villain, and sort of some shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So in terms of like queer representation, this is I don't know where to start with this film. I think it's as I said earlier, I think it's weird that it seems like the source of her trauma is the fact that her dad was gay, not the fact that her dad and her sister were very brutally killed in front of her eyes.
Yeah.
And I feel like, yeah. And I mean, in terms of like, I mean, I guess the interesting thing is, yes, she has been forced to live as a girl, but she does seem genuinely attracted to Paul. So either way, regardless of what her gender identity is, she is attracted to men, it would seem. Yeah. Although also she is a bit fixated on Judy and her big tits at the beginning as well.
Well, it's obviously, she obviously wants to, well, I don't know. I mean, I think it's kind of, it's meant to assume that she wants to have breasts and she can have them essentially. Well, not naturally, but yeah. It's, I think like just to focus on, I don't know, it's been deemed homophobic, this film, and I like, as well as transphobic. And it's sort of like I guess the fact that, I don't know why. Is it just because it's sort of insinuated that having same-sex parents messes you up? It's not that implicit though, or explicit.
Especially since it's the straight aunt, or presumably the straight aunt who's kind of ruined her life.
Yeah, it's sort of like there's no, and it's sort of really weird. Like it's like, what is the point of this scene? It's like, because really, I mean, it's kind of representation that wouldn't otherwise exist in a film like this, but like, I don't know.
But it's not good. It's not.
Why not though?
How is it good representation?
Well, they're just like incidentally like to the couple of dads.
But it's being used as a flashback to represent where her kind of trauma of being touched by a man is coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is an awful film, like a really problematic film from a queer, well, from all perspectives. But because as well, being raised wearing women's clothes and living as a woman against your will does not a trans person make. So she isn't a trans character that we know of.
Yeah,
she's a boy that's been forced to live as a girl.
Yeah.
So, which is really a damaging portrayal of a person whose body might not match what your understanding of how they look is.
Yeah, it's interesting actually, because saying that, I found a couple of articles that were written recently. One of them, I think, just by a partner of a trans person, and a subsequent one by an actual trans woman. The first article was on Dread Central, which is like a horror website. The writer, I think it's a she, the name is BJ. It's just like, is Sleepaway Camp a homophobic and transphobic movie? Yeah, pretty much. It perpetuates the idea that you deserve to be punished for being gay and that all trans women are just men in disguise. Cut to, Sleepaway Camp is terrible trans representation, yes. But it's an incredible metaphor about how forcing gender roles onto someone that doesn't align with them, can be really dangerous. Which I thought was interesting. The next article by Angela Baker on Medium said, from where I sit, she is the unseen anti-hero, doling out cathartic trans justice.
Apart from the kid.
I know.
Apart from the kid.
Yeah, I think she's glossed over that. Angela only kills people who hurt her, except for the kids. And while I can't say I want to go around casually a killing, this is a very cathartic thing for me to see as a trans woman. But a lot of her article also sort of mirrors some of the sentiment that BJ has in their article. But yeah, it's interesting. It's sort of, I guess, especially at sort of this time, with all the kind of like turfy rhetoric, it's kind of interesting that seeing it portrayed the other way, where someone's being forced to transition, essentially.
But the thing is that is the turfy rhetoric, because they think that young trans people are being forced.
No, but basically, but in this case, what I mean is it's sort of the opposite inside out version of it, because it's showing what damage it's done to this young person.
But that's what TERFs think is happening there. That's the point. So it's not really that inside out, because TERFs think that young people are being forced to transition. That young trans people are being forced to transition. And in this case, someone is.
Oh, no, you mean young cis people are being forced to transition.
Yeah.
You said trans people are forced to transition.
Well, they think that trans people are cis people who've been forced to transition.
Yeah.
So I think this film is the TERF narrative, personally.
Yeah. It's strange as well, though, because on its own, without the subsequent films, which obviously I mentioned before, she actually does transition in the subsequent films, which is, I mean, it's still problematic because you just don't know if she knows herself because of how, like, her upbringing and how she was forced.
Is she played by cis women in the later?
Yeah. Yeah, always. It's sort of an unusual narrative. And it was strange, actually, because they were saying, like, one of the articles was saying that, that actually is quite a kind of like common thing for murderers growing up, that they were forced to cross-dress by their mothers. And actually I did Google it, and there are like a few examples. I didn't Google it too much, so I didn't want to know. But it's just like, I think in those cases, it's something about the kind of like the mother emasculating the man and them wanting to seek revenge on women, essentially.
It's interesting if you think about it in terms of like, if that is true, and I don't know if it is, but if it's true that cis people who are forced, well, cis men who are forced by their parents to cross-dress are more likely to be kind of murderous, then think about all of us poor trans people who are forced to be to kind of be raised in a gender that we're not.
That's kind of the roundabout way I think I was trying to say about what happened to Angela, but you're right, it's not the same.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not a great film for queer representation, is it?
Yeah, it's strange because, I mean, there's no way this film will be made now, but it's just, I guess, like, I just don't think I don't know. Like,
yeah, if it was made now, it should just be like a TERF going around checking everyone's genitals in the toilets or something. You're allowed in here. Blah, blah, blah. Called Sleepaway Camp. I would watch that.
Yeah, it is like hugely problematic. But I also, it's sort of weird because it does have a place in my heart. I do kind of enjoy it, and I don't. I kind of like. I think knowing that Angela is trans from, or cross-dresser from the beginning, for me makes it kind of exciting that she is this kind of, I mean, it's obviously not empowerment to go around murdering people, but the fact that she is sort of in control and taking control of her situation, and she's not.
I just wish she didn't kill the kids, though. Like, that's the bit that just really threw me, because it was like, come on, they're just having a little snooze, like they're little babies. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's interesting to think about the kind of parallels in other horror films, and the one that comes to mind most obviously is Norman Bates.
Yeah.
But he is choosing to dress up as his mother, and that's about like kind of mother issues.
Yeah.
I feel like that has less of an obvious kind of trans narrative in a way. But also, one of the I can't remember which one it was because there's been 716, but one of the Insidiouses or The Conjuring has, like they have the like bride all in black.
Oh yeah.
And then there's like a scene where you find the origin story, and that is a man dressed up as this bride.
Oh.
Can you remember that?
I didn't remember that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of fleeting. It doesn't like, it obviously doesn't explain anything, because it's just, I mean, I've worn a dress. I'm not murdering anyone, or haunting anyone for that matter. Well, maybe.
Well, you're not dead yet.
Yeah, I mean, there's another film, actually. It's called The House, it's like The House on the Corner, The Old House on the Corner or something. And it's a...
Scary.
Yeah, and that's quite recent, actually. That'll be like the 2000s. And the reveal there is that the young boy... Oh, I can't remember which way around it, but it's got like a trans twist at the end.
Yeah, like, I've heard it said that, like, the murderous trans woman is a trope. But off the top of my head, I can't think of any examples. I think there was like a Silent Witness on BBC that had that. There's obviously also Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
But I don't know, and I don't know enough about it to see if it's a trope or not.
I mean, I guess it's part of a wider trope, which is the kind of portrayal as like, kind of, especially kind of trans women, I guess, and like, or like effeminate men, the kind of relations between kind of like campness and effeminacy in men, and by extension, I guess, in the trope, trans women.
Yeah.
Being kind of a villain, an evil kind of like something kind of underhand, not man enough, like kind of devious. And so I guess that's part of a wider trope.
Yeah, and I guess that's you're right. Like, quite often, obviously, we see this with like a lot of things. So, like, the queer coded person is always the villain or the murderer.
Yeah, but also part of me likes that. Like, I mean, I wish we lived in a world where that wasn't the only portrayal. But like, yeah, I like to see like I'm thinking about someone like the character of Powerpuff Girls.
Oh yeah.
Like I love him. Like I love that he's the evil one. Yeah. Like because he's also like iconic and fabulous, and like and the baddies are always the most interesting characters. So, but I mean, obviously, if it's saying that the reason that person is bad is because they are trans or because they are effeminate, that's wrong. But I still want to see villains that are like us.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I guess in a way it would be nice if they were like anti-hero type. I don't know, yeah.
Which she so nearly almost is. Yeah, that's the frustrating thing.
Yeah, if she hadn't randomly killed those. But I'm now, I think they must have put that random kind of three boys in so that she wasn't at all sympathetic, essentially.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And to make her as monstrous as at the time as a woman with a penis was meant to be.
I guess the other thing is, like, you saying that it still has a place in your heart. Like, we are still allowed to enjoy these films. Like, it's of its time, and its time was very transphobic.
Yes,
and I didn't like it, but I also found it extremely watchable because I like the genre. I like that kind of vibe of it. Like it's so close to being a film that I would really love.
Yeah.
It's just that I find it really too problematic to enjoy.
Yeah.
But I also think it doesn't stand up to things like Nightmare on Elm Street because the script is shit. Yeah, the acting is appalling for the most part.
Don't say that. He forgets to do to his mother.
Yeah, well, he obviously hates his mum. Maybe this is his revenge because his mum made him dress up as a girl as a child. Yeah. Yeah, do you like this film, Mummy? You stinking bitch.
Awards.
Da 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 da, the Bloody Mary Awards. Okay, so our favourite minor character?
Mine was the little tiny snake that comes out of his mouth.
And mine was the tiny little bee that comes out of his wound. So for spookiest moment, it's not a scary film. We've yet to do a scary film, actually. I do think that, and obviously I hate that this is the scariest part, but the reveal at the end, there is something really jarring and weird about it, especially now that we know that it's actually just a man wearing a mask of her. But it's this idea that she's got a completely frozen, because it's a mask, like scream. And it's the way she's standing, it's the way it's shot, and the kind of the weird, like, kind of noise.
Actually, even without a penis, that would have been the spookiest moment.
Yeah, for sure. It's
her standing naked with that screaming face.
Yeah,
animal noise.
Yeah. I think that was the spookiest bit.
Yeah.
Funniest bit.
Funniest bit for me was when they were playing that long extended baseball game that went on for half an hour, and he says, "Eat shit and die," and then Ricky replies, "Eat shit and live, Bill."
What does it even mean? I'm eating, shitting, and living, Bill. I thought the funniest bit was the hysterical girl on the water ski at the beginning, and they were just like, "She looks like she's having so much fun," and then it showed you her, and she was like, "Let me get off!"
Screaming.
Best death.
I think because it's just so preposterous, the wicked shit and plus beehive death is maybe my favorite.
Yeah, I think I was sad for a slasher. I do like to watch some gruesome deaths, and although the aftermaths were very good and much better than the actual deaths themselves, I did find them all quite disappointing. So controversially, I'm going to say my favorite one was when Mel got a arrow through his neck, just because it happened very quickly.
Very humane.
Yeah, it was. Oh, yes, it was very humane. No suffering anymore for Mel.
No elaborate snakes or bees.
What do you think the worst death was?
I mean, they were all pretty bad. I think Meg in the shower was just so boring, almost like a boring death.
Yeah, I think was his name Kenny? I think I wrote down Kenny, the guy who was drowned under the canoe.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like that was just a bit bleh. Like I really like the shot of his body
dead
afterwards.
body was-
But the actual death itself, just like holding someone's head under the water, just doesn't scream like slasher for me. I want something more prolonged and gruesome.
Yeah.
What do you think was the queerest moment?
I mean, obviously it's sort of strange with this film, but the two dads in bed together, obviously just sort of caressing each other gently.
Yeah, I think I've kind of talked myself into thinking that the queerest aspect of it is the fact that regardless of whether she's a woman, whether she or a girl, or whether she's a boy, she is still very attracted to Paul initially, it would seem. So I think her attraction to men is maybe the queerest thing.
Yeah.
Sexiest character.
I'm interested to know you put. I put like the hunky kind of like tanned counselor who has the crop top on the baseball field. He was like,
yes, I think I might have said the same one, but he had such a forgettable face. Was he the one that was wearing little orange shorts who saved Angela when she was thrown in the lake?
yeah.
So him, but then I noted a second one, which is when the policeman turns up with that weird fake mustache. Aside from his weird, kind of very square-looking fake mustache, I think he was maybe the sexiest character.
Yeah, it's a blooper or a goof as they call him, the fake mustache, because he had one in the middle and then he cut it off, and so they had to stick.
Oh, is that really what happened?
Yeah. So it's actually, it is a fake one. I mean, obviously it's a fake one, but they thought it'd be realistic enough to do this square.
I think it would have been just as realistic to be like, well, it's been a while since he was here. He's shaved.
It's been either a week.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know how much time he's now got grey and is over frame, but he still has that mustache. So well done to all of the winners. Yes. So out of a possible 5 pumpkins, 5 being amazing, 0 being awful.
Well,
how many pumpkins do you give Sleepaway Camp?
I mean, in good faith, I can't give this many good pumpkins, but so it has a really I love it. Like it really just it's stupid that I do enjoy this sort of like trans representation, as problematic as it is. And so
well, it's because we're so starved of it in horror that even if it's bad, we're just like, great, fine, this'll do. I'm gonna get Angela on a t-shirt. I love her.
So realistically, thinking with my head and not my heart, I'm gonna go with 3.
How many? That's still quite high.
Yeah.
How many heart pumpkins would you give it? More than 3 out of 5? Would you give it more than 3 out of 5?
It just makes me feel happy. I don't know why. I just enjoy it. I just love seeing Angela and just like knowing she's trans and just like her existing. It's just like makes me happy.
Yeah.
And her romance and stuff. And like, the fact that I don't know, that she just seems to be having a normal life. Well, I mean, that's fine. I mean,
I feel like we've watched different
just keep out all the murders and the forced cross-dressing as a child.
And if the film is then 1 minute long.
I'm just having her romance with Paul. Yeah.
I will give it 1.5 pumpkins.
What?
Give it more. I have to give it exactly how many I want to. You can't force anyone to do anything. That's what. Haven't you learned anything from this?
Don't murder with bees.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very, very watchable. It looks cool, but I think the script is shit. I think the acting is shit. I think there are too many. The plot is just messy. The death's a bit boring. And the reveal is fucking awful. So yeah, a very generous 1.5 pumpkin out of 5 for me.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's time for the spoopy bit. So, in the spirit of cross-dressing people being evil, as we've established, I want to tell you the story of the woman in black, not the Susan Hill woman in black, a different woman in black.
Right.
I found this story on dangerousminds.net, and it is a true story.
Wow.
So it's set in a place called Curry Revell in Somerset, and there was a ghost in that village or whatever it is that was regularly seen. and she was a Victorian woman in a Victorian frock with a big black floppy-brimmed hat, a dark coat, stocking, and high heels. And she had a veil over her face. And it was said that if you looked into her eyes, you would be struck dead where you stood. And then other people said that if she was seen 3 times in one day or night, then it meant that someone would die.
Oh.
One night in the King William pub.
Love that place.
I was saying, love it. There was a drunk patron who was also the postman of the village, and he claimed
drunk and a postman.
Can you believe it? And he claimed to have seen the figure in broad daylight. Everyone in the pub was laughing. They thought he was just being drunk and stupid. But he also announced that not only had he seen the ghost, but he knew who it was.
No.
Yes. And he then went on to reveal that the ghost was actually the local vicar, Reverend Alfred Harold Reed.
Plot twist.
Plot twist. They all thought he was just doing like a drunken bit, had some lols, and then he and a friend left the pub to cycle home, and they came across the haunting spectre that very eve.
Came all across it?
Came all at that very eve.
Yeah, no.
They asked her to reveal her true identity, and she just kept walking. She didn't speak. But then one of them shone their torch in her face and revealed that it was indeed the Reverend. The next day, one of them went to, and being a very small village, this news travelled very quickly. One of them went to speak to the Reverend, and the Reverend said, "I'm very sorry if I startled you yesterday." And they're like, "Well, we just really want to know what's going on." And they said, "Are you a transvestite?" And he said, "Oh, God, no."
Heaven
forfend. And he was, he claimed that it was just something that he'd been doing for research, because he thought that there'd been a decline in the kind of moral fabric of the community. And he'd heard that women felt very unsafe walking on their own, and wanted to test this hypothesis. And he then invited the whole community, the whole parish, to come to a meeting about like why and where he would explain his behavior,
his idea behind the nonsense.
Yes. And he said that he had done it because he wanted to test whether or not it was dangerous for a woman to be out alone, and he found that men were very respectful. That he encountered no problems whatsoever, and he came away from the research feeling more proud of men than ever before.
Oh, man.
He did also mention that it may have been that he wasn't seen as an attractive woman.
Not so sexy.
But also, this was in the 1920s.
Scary.
Yeah, this is in the 1920s, and he was wearing like Victorian mourning dress. So I'm not sure that was necessarily that sounds a bit victim blaming. It's not necessarily a very alluring outfit.
Wasn't asking for as much as he could have.
But also, he would have just looked like a ghost. So maybe men are less likely to approach ghosts.
Well, especially if you think you see her 3 times and you're going to die. I'd be like, "Hey, baby."
Yeah, I'm not sure his research methods stand up to kind of rigorous scrutiny.
Sure.
There was interestingly enough, after this, the woman in black was never seen again. But there was a newspaper article at the time, a very short one, that said, the headline was, "Pastor dresses as girl, acts as spy on church members." And it reads, "Reverend Alfred Harold Reed has received a severe reprimand for the method he has used to spy on male members of his church." Male members. Lol. To learn what their attitude would be towards girls they met at night, he dressed as a stylish young woman and sallied forth at night.
Sallied forth.
That should be his drag name. My name is Sally DeFore. After he had been investigating for several weeks, the trustees of the church had him cited before the Somerset Congregation Union. He promised to stick to preaching.
That's probably what he should have been doing, this job.
Yes, yeah. But so I found another article, and it was talking about research more broadly about how kind of about men dressing in Victorian morning dress, as in women's morning dress,
not AM dress.
Yes, in order to disguise crimes.
Oh, crimes!
But I was thinking, interestingly, I guess, just although it was a disguise for a crime, it was also a crime in itself, in the early 20s
Oh,
to
yeah,
be
'cause
seen
it
in public
was illegal.
dressed as a member of the opposite sex.
Naughty.
So I guess they were criminals, whether or not they were
Double
intending
criminal.
on doing anything criminal or not.
Wow.
And so that's my spoopy, silly story.
Thank you. I'm chilled to the bone.
If you're enjoying Bloody Marys, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with your friends.